Have you ever bought a bunch of fresh, fragrant dill, used only a little, and then discovered the rest had started to wilt, turn yellow, become mushy, and lost almost all its aroma after just a few days in the refrigerator? Dill isn't expensive, but having to throw it away after each use is still wasteful. Especially when just adding a little dill to fish, eggs, potatoes, soups, or broths can make the dish so much more delicious. Today, I'll share 4 very simple ways to preserve dill. First, inspect the entire bunch of dill. Keep only the sprigs that are still green, have a natural aroma, and are not slimy. Any leaves that have turned yellow, become dark, are mushy, or have an unusual smell should be discarded immediately. Don't hesitate to throw away any damaged parts, as even a few mushy leaves left in the container can cause the remaining sprigs to spoil faster. Now, I put the dill in a bowl of clean water and rinse it very gently. Dill leaves are very small and delicate, so we shouldn't rub or squeeze them hard. Just gently stir in the water to remove dirt, sand, and dust. Then, I change the water and rinse again until the water is clear and there is no more dirt or sediment at the bottom of the bowl. Some people tend to soak herbs in water for too long, but with dill, we don't need to do that. Dill leaves are very small, so if soaked for too long, they easily bruise, absorb water, and lose their aroma. After washing, place the dill in a colander to drain. If you have a vegetable spinner, you can spin it gently to remove excess water. If not, simply spread the dill on a clean towel or paper towel and gently pat it dry. Then, leave the dill in a well-ventilated area for about 20 to 30 minutes until the surface is completely dry. This is a very important step. Whether you store it in the refrigerator or freezer, dill with too much water will easily become soft, slimy, and sticky. Now that the dill is dry, we can begin with preservation methods. The first method involves preparing a clean, dry container with a lid. First, I place a layer of dry paper towels at the bottom of the container. Paper towels help absorb excess moisture during storage, but remember that paper towels only help control a small amount of moisture and cannot replace the drying step for dill. If you put wet dill in the container, the paper towels will quickly become soaked and the dill may still become soggy. Now, I gently arrange the dill sprigs in the container. You shouldn't pack the dill too tightly or overfill the container. Dill leaves are very thin, and if they are compressed for too long, they will be crushed and quickly discolored. If the container is quite deep and you have a lot of dill, you can place another thin paper towel between the 2 layers of dill. Finally, cover with a dry paper towel and close the lid. I place the container in the refrigerator, preferably in the vegetable drawer, and avoid placing it near areas that are too cold, as this can cause the leaves to freeze. During storage, occasionally open the container to check. If the paper towels become damp, replace them with fresh ones. Also, immediately remove any sprigs that start to turn yellow or become soft so they don't affect the remaining sprigs. The advantage of this method is that the dill sprigs remain intact. When cooking fish, making egg dishes, soups, or garnishing dishes, you can take out exactly the amount you need. You should use clean, dry hands to handle the dill. Do not put a wet spoon or wet hands into the container, as even a small amount of water can cause the dill to spoil more quickly. Second method. If your family often uses dill with eggs, potatoes, fish, or soup, this second method will be very convenient. After the dill has completely drained, I remove the old and tough parts of the stems. The tender stems can still be kept as they are fragrant and edible. Now, I gather the dill and chop it into pieces the size my family usually uses. You shouldn't chop the dill too finely. When chopped too finely, the leaves are more likely to bruise, lose more water, and lose their aroma faster. You only need to chop it just enough to add directly to the dish. Take a small glass jar or container. I place a piece of paper towel at the bottom of the jar, just the right size. There's no need to use too much paper towel because a thick layer will take up space and press down on the dill below. Then, I put the chopped dill into the jar. Put it in gently and don't press it down with your hands. Leave some space so the dill doesn't get crushed or damaged. Close the lid tightly and place the jar in the refrigerator. Whenever you cook, simply open the lid, take out some dill, and add it to your dish. No need to wash it again, and no need to take out a knife and cutting board to chop it again. This method is very convenient for busy people, but because the dill is already chopped, it won't stay fresh as long as whole sprigs. Therefore, you should only prepare a small jar with just enough dill for immediate use. Third method. Some dishes don't require chopped dill. For example, when cooking fish, boiling seafood, making broth, or preparing stews, you might want to use whole sprigs of dill for aroma, and then remove them after cooking. In that case, freezing whole sprigs of dill is more convenient. I keep the dill sprigs whole after washing and completely drying them, then place them in a clean, dry container suitable for freezer storage. With this method, I don't need to line the inside with paper towels. Paper towels are more suitable for the refrigerator, where they help absorb a small amount of excess moisture. When freezing, we just need to make sure the dill is dry and the container is tightly sealed. Then, I close the lid tightly and place the container in the freezer. When needed, just take out the required number of sprigs and add them directly to the dish while they are still frozen. You shouldn't take the whole can out and let it thaw, as condensation can form on the remaining dill and cause the sprigs to stick together when they refreeze. Freezing whole dill sprigs saves preparation time and allows you to use both the leaves and tender stems. However, after thawing, the dill will no longer retain its original freshness and appeal. Therefore, this method is best suited for fish dishes, broths, soups, stews, and other cooked dishes. Of the 3 methods shared today, which one do you like best? Do you usually use dill in fish dishes, egg dishes, potato dishes, or soups? Please share with me in the comments. Thank you for watching the video. If you found these tips helpful, please like the video, share it with your family and loved ones, and subscribe to the channel. See you again in the next simple and useful kitchen tips.